All right, welcome back. We've got our weekly stock market update, and it's been a bloody red week this week. We're looking at the NASDAQ right now, and I believe this week we were down over 6%, 8% at our lows. Today we have a nice bounce. It's really closing strong here the last hour or so. It's just been straight up. So maybe we'll get some follow through on Monday to have a little continued bounce. But pretty ugly week for the market overall. S&P 500, similar looking chart here. Big drop, little bounce going into the close. Next week will be an important week to see if we can get back in trend or if we are going to start a larger reversal to the downside. Russell 2000 really breaking down as well. Let's take a look at crude oil, staying steady around $70 a barrel, not doing a whole lot there. Gold pulling back a little bit this week from all-time highs, to be expected. Bitcoin, big loser this week. Big drops this week in Bitcoin. It got as low as 78,000 last night. Big flush. So some buyers stepping in here as well. Let's take a look at the rates. That's another big mover this week. We've had a really nice move to the downside on interest rates these last couple of weeks. Let's take a look. So from our peak here at 4.8, we're down 12% on the 10-year bond, which is great. I think this is something I'm watching more than some of the stocks and the indices. We want to see the rates keep coming down and finally break this trend that we have from the pandemic lows of interest rates. So if we can get the rates down, I think that'll allow for more deals to be done in the housing market, in the banking market, in just general loans, home starts. There's a lot of economic data that is showing stagnation, and some of that is because the cost of capital, the cost to do things is very high. So if we can get interest rates down over time, that'll allow some healing in those markets, and that'll be good for the average Joe to have a little cash in their pocket and get to spending a little bit more. So some individual names we'll take a quick look at. Tesla, another free fall under $300. Again, a little bounce today, but we were so due for a bounce because we had just 4 days in a row of just pain, and even this morning was pain as well. So we're recovering a little bit here into the close. Looks like everything is probably going to close near its highs, which is good to see. Some strength, some big institutions buying on close. So that's good to see. I expect Monday to have a little bit of a pop. The question is going to be, can we hold these rallies? Because it's common to have these rallies and then they continue to fail. Rally up, fail. So if we go down 4% and we come up 1% just to go down another 3%, that's not good. So it'll be interesting to see if this is just a bounce in a downtrend or if we have a sustainable move back up. NVIDIA, I'm about to record my NVIDIA earnings video. Their earnings were unbelievably stellar. As always, they just keep killing it. So I'll do a deep dive on NVIDIA here in just a few moments. But the numbers were great, but the market didn't care. So this is another bad omen. Even good news, market doesn't care. It's up 4% now, but it was big drop post earnings on phenomenal numbers, good guidance. Everything to me looked great. But market doesn't care. Market is in risk-off mode until stated otherwise. Let's see here. SMH going down as well with NVIDIA. You've got the Qs, similar to the NASDAQ. Amazon almost got under $200 this week, 204. But this looks very weak. I do think we will see under $200 here in our near future here for Amazon. And there's the market close. Again, strong close for the market. Nice to see. Google not doing anything. to me, this one is very interesting, how there's just no buyers present for this stock. Its valuation is at a very reasonable, it's the cheapest of the Mag 7, but nobody wants it. So to me, it's interesting right now. It's interesting under 175, but I guess I'm just being very, very patient here. I didn't do a whole lot of buying this week. I did buy a little bit more Amazon. I did buy a little bit of the iBit Bitcoin Trust. I bought some of that yesterday, and that was it. Other than that, I am selling calls. I do have a sold put on Tesla, but that is all I'm doing right now. Waiting to see a little bit more resolution either one way or another. But this to me is not a bad place to dollar cost average, but a lot of the signs I'm seeing in the market tell me that this is the beginning of a little bit longer downturn. Now, we got through Nvidia's earnings. Like I said, that was good news, but the market didn't care. So that's a really bad omen to me, because what's the next catalyst? Q2 earnings. So what's going to entice people to come buy right now? Well, we've got 60 days until the next earnings reports. And I think there's probably a higher likelihood of people not buying or even continuing to sell any rallies until the next earnings report. And then we'll digest those numbers and see what people's feelings are at that time. So not a whole lot of catalysts coming up. Obviously, we'll have inflation numbers. We'll have the Federal Reserve meeting and any other economic data. But that was the big news story this week was Nvidia's earnings, and it was good news, but the market didn't care. So let's pull up any other news that popped up this week. There's a lot of stuff floating around for geopolitical, trade policy. There's all those headlines that are going to be coming and going each day, each week. But to me, there wasn't anything super concrete besides the tariffs were not finalized, but they're not in place yet. But the deadline is coming up. So I believe March 4th, some tariffs are going to start coming online for Canada, Mexico, and China. We did have the Apple news that they're going to invest $500 billion in the United States to avoid tariffs. So I guess that's a good thing for the United States that, your iPhones aren't going to be cheaper, and Apple's going to be investing into the United States for, looks like their data centers for the iCloud. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But to me, that's good news. Looks like Zelensky was in Washington today. I don't know what happened there, but looks like he came and went from the White House. And this is the big news, is the market rotation. So to me, this is the canary in the coal mine. We're seeing the high-performing technology stocks get sold off, even on good earnings, and that money is going into more defensive bonds. That's why we're seeing the yields come down, and then also defensive stocks like consumer staples, Procter and Gamble, things like that, Hershey's chocolate, things that people are going to buy even in an economic slowdown. So people are taking profits in their high-flying tech, and they're going into some of the safety stocks. So to me, that's where the market isn't going to do a big rotation just for a couple of weeks or a couple of days. They do that rotation for a couple of quarters typically, or longer. So the market is preparing for a little bit more defensiveness, a little bit more bad numbers apparently. So to me, that's where I'm not rushing in to buy the technology dip. We've had 2 years of 20 plus returns. Wouldn't be surprising if we have a flat year, a 5% year, or even a down year. So you may have all year to pick up some of these stocks, and I'm already heavily allocated towards technology. So for me personally, I'm waiting for better buy points. There are some opportunities here and there that I'll be nibbling, but right now I'm not going all in. So that is my thoughts. And again, some of this economic data, the market rotation is telling me to be a little bit more cautious. So until we start to see that unwind, which doesn't make sense for it to happen anytime soon. Again, the big money's doing this rotation. Why would they unwind that rotation? What's going to change their mind just like that to sell their staples and come right back into technology? So That's why I'm being a little bit more patient on adding to my portfolio. But that's about it for this week. Stay tuned for NVIDIA's earnings, and then next week we've got some unemployment numbers, and it looks like the non-farm payrolls next week, and a speech from yours truly, Jerome Powell. So stay tuned for that. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. All right, peace out.